Hey, what is going on guys? My name is EndingGamertag and I'm back for your daily Fortnite video. Now in today's video I'll be sharing with you guys how you can essentially abuse aim assist on controller Fortnite. Whether you're playing on consoles such as Xbox One or PS4 or even the Switch, or if you're just simply using a controller on PC. This video is going to benefit you guys and basically help you increase your accuracy as well as utilize the advantage that we're given for controller Fortnite. That of course being aim assist and what most people would consider abusing it. Now if you guys go in to enjoy the video or find it helpful, a like would be very much appreciated. On the contrary, if you genuinely dislike today's video, then by all means feel free to leave a dislike. And also if you're new around here and would like to see more daily Fortnite content like this in the future, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on post notifications. With that out of the way, my name is EndingGamertag and let's get right into it. Now, aim assist is probably the most controversial topic of Fortnite. PC players think controller players shouldn't have it or that it's too overpowered, and then of course the controller players think on the contrary, thinking that if anything, aim assist is kind of needed, which in my opinion, and I think it's really kind of factual at this point, the aim assist is needed for controller players, and since Epic Games has given it to us, then the best thing we can do is use it to our advantage. And aim assist is not nothing new. We've seen this in other games such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and so on and so forth. The list literally doesn't end, as it would be nearly impossible to land any shots or even have any form of a decent accuracy if there is no aim assist. So first of all, that's why aim assist is in effect for Fortnite. So it's one thing to use aim assist, however it's a whole other thing to abuse it, and we of course want to abuse it. This way we can of course increase our accuracy to the most that we can. So I'm going to load into a creative map and I'm essentially going to show you guys how aim assist works for controller Fortnite. Now obviously I'm on console and I believe console has lesser of an aim assist than on PC. Reason being is because if you're using controller on PC, you're going to match up against keyboard and mouse players where it's kind of needed to have more aim assist. So keep in mind I'm on Xbox One where aim assist isn't necessarily as prominent. So what I've done is I've gone into creative and I've loaded sentries on the map, which is basically like a dummy where you can take shots at. People typically use this to practice further aim and accuracy, however I'm using it specifically to share with you guys just how good aim assist is and give you a visual aid of essentially what aim assist does. So in my inventory I've pretty much loaded all of the ARs that is typically used with aim assist, and then I've also put in the Desert Eagle or hand cannon, which is pretty much notorious for having aim assist kind of helpful for it. So one of the main weapons aim assist is very helpful for is the heavy assault rifle, and that's what I'm using typically throughout this video. So firstly I'm going to build a platform and sit on the stairs, and I'm going to share with you guys and show you basically what aim assist does. So if you ever crosshair relatively close to the opponent, or I guess in this player the sentry, once you press L2 or left trigger, it actually aims towards onto the sentry or obviously opponent. So in a game this works the exact same way. If your crosshair is relatively close or within the vicinity that aim assist will take effect, basically it'll sway your crosshair into the direction of the opponent. Sometimes it'll sway it actually directly onto the opponent, and then other times it'll kind of just make it even closer to the opponent than what it originally was. Obviously every time you continue to click on left trigger or L2, it actually gets closer and closer onto the opponent, and eventually it'll center onto their body or upper chest area. And this is basically the entire mechanic of aim assist. So clicking L2 or left trigger in a consistent pattern is basically how you can abuse aim assist. You don't want to do it too fast, as basically it won't even give time for your crosshair to sway, but you don't want to do it too slow because of course then the accuracy is going to be a little lower. So basically what I recommend doing is going in a creative map and doing what I've done by setting up the sentries and just finding exactly the best pattern. Eventually it'll become muscle memory and you'll get used to this. Now keep in mind that this is on sentries in creative mode, so of course they're not moving, so it isn't the most realistic example. Obviously if I was in a regular Fortnite Battle Royale game, that'd be a way better example. However, this just makes it a lot easier to kind of put on display the differences between aim assist on and aim assist off. So firstly I'm going to have aim assist off, and you guys can see basically the amount of shots that I'm missing. Obviously again I have decent accuracy due to the fact that they aren't really moving. Of course if I was in a regular Battle Royale game, I can expect to maybe land sub 10% of the shots that I take. However again, since they're not moving, I'm landing most of them, but I'm still missing a pretty consistent amount of shots that if I had aim assist on, I'd be hitting. So there you guys have it with aim assist off. Now I'm going to switch aim assist on and show you guys basically the difference. So now that we have aim assist on, you guys can see that my accuracy has in fact increased. Now if I was in a regular game and I was using aim assist on and kind of abusing it the way that I am in the creative mode and the gameplay in the background, I'd probably be hitting a consistent 80 to 90% of my shots. So of course in a regular Fortnite Battle Royale game where the opponent is moving in obviously unpredictable manner, Again, I would land probably less than 10% of my shots with aim assist off. However, with aim assist on, I'd probably land 70 to 90% of my shots. So that is a huge difference. Now, if I wasn't abusing aim assist, I'd probably land 60 to 70% of my shots if I was just using it normally. However, with abusing it, I can expect to land 80 to maybe 90 to 95% of my shots. So the little increase that this gives is very significant and will help you a ton. This also puts a little bit of a damper on bloom. Of course, nobody likes bloom in the game, where basically that's kind of like the spray motion of bullets. So if you're holding down right trigger or taking shots and your bullets aren't hitting, however your crosshairs on the player, this is due to bloom. So using or abusing aim assist the way that I share with you guys is going to pretty much damper bloom quite a bit. Also keep in mind, if you're using a fully auto AR, such as just a regular assault rifle, where the shot pattern is kind of quick, of course compared to a gun like the heavy assault rifle, that we aren't holding down right trigger. That in fact, every time we click L2, about a split second after, we then click right trigger. Holding down right trigger for the entirety of taking these shots and trying to abuse aim assist won't give us the same effect that if we're pressing left trigger and then pressing right trigger. So that's basically how you guys can do it. Click L2, then R2, then L2, then R2, and continuously do this, and not holding R2 while clicking L2 over and over again. And this is basically, again, how to utilize aim assist the best way that we can. I also did this comparison with aim assist off and aim assist on with a couple of other weapons that you would typically use in the game, such as the infantry rifle, the golden scar, and then lastly I did it with the Desert Eagle or the hand cannon, because this is one of the most iconic weapons for aim assist. Now the hand cannon works the same way as pretty much every other weapon with aim assist. It's just the fact that the fire rate is so slow that it's almost mandatory to do the rhythm that I talked about, where you basically press L2 and then R2, where you can't necessarily hold it. So that's why the hand cannon basically is amazing for aim assist. So if you see the hand cannon in game, basically use this to your advantage. Pick it up and then use the aim assist the way that I've shared with you guys in today's video. We're not going to move on to a weapon that aim assist really helps with quite a lot, however it's not talked about that often, and this is going to be the heavy sniper rifle, or realistically any sniper rifle has the same amount of aim assist, but I'm using the heavy sniper for this video's purpose. So you guys can see basically the effect that the heavy sniper actually has with aim assist. This one is probably like double the amount of aim assist you'll get with a regular AR or any other weapon that I shared in today's video. You guys can see that once you hold left trigger and scope in, it's not only going to sway closer to the opponent, but if you were to back out and then press left trigger again, it's going to automatically have your crosshair on the opponent. So this is basically like the new way to snipe that I've figured out. Instead of holding your sniper rifle scope down and then moving the crosshair with the opponent, basically aim in with the scope once, back out, and then aim in one more time, and it'll automatically be landed on the opponent's body. So you guys can see that's basically why I'm sniping in the way that I do. I scope in, I scope out, and then I scope in once more and take my shot, and it's almost like a guaranteed hit. And obviously with a weapon this powerful, that's almost a one-shot elimination every single time. So about 9.5 out of 10 times you can expect to get an immediate elimination simply by scoping in, backing out, and then scoping in and taking a shot. So of course, as the pattern follows, I'll share with you guys a comparison with me using aim assist with the heavy sniper rifle and using the method I just shared with you guys compared to me not using it. So let's take a look at that right now. So you guys can see the difference that this has made. Of course, I landed pretty much every shot by using the new aim assist method, and then of course I missed a few shots by not using the aim assist method that I shared with you guys. Obviously, the difference between both of these is going to be way more significant in a real actual in-game scenario where the player is moving and such. And then lastly, I want to talk about the main weapon that you guys need to be using this for, and this is basically any SMG in the game. So that can be like the compact SMG or the suppressed SMG. However, the main one we want to be using this with is the drum gun. Now with the drum gun, you want to actually hold R2 or right trigger, because chances are you're going to be using it in a close combat scenario and not in a medium to long range gunfight. So in a close combat scenario, we want to hold R2 or right trigger with the drum gun, however spam clicking L2 or left trigger. This is how you can abuse aim assist with SMGs and specifically the drum gun. The reason the drum gun works so well above any other SMG in the game, or realistically any other weapon in the game, is because the magazine. Of course, we're given nearly 50 bullets in every clip, so you can continuously do this over and over again. It'll work through any build that a player makes, and it'll track on them every single time you spam L2 whilst holding right trigger. And not only does aim assist work very well with the drum gun, the fire rate is very consistent. It's not too fast and it's not too slow for aim assist abuse. It's kind of perfectly right in the middle. On top of that, with the 50 bullets we're given, they all deal a pretty significant amount of damage. Fortnite actually at one point nerfed the drum gun, however the nerf was so insignificant that this gun is still quite honestly overpowered. So if you combine the overpowerness with the clip that you're giving with 50 bullets in it, the amount of damage it does, and the perfect fire rate, on top of that with abusing aim assist, is literally nearly unstoppable. So that is essentially how you guys can abuse aim assist in today's video. I went over how to do it with regular assault rifles and the best ones to do it with. I also gave you guys basically a visual aid and kind of an example of essentially what aim assist does and how it works. I then share with you guys a comparison between aim assist on and aim assist off. I share with you guys basically how aim assist works with sniper rifles and how you should be sniping. On top of that, I even talked about the hand cannon and why this is one of the most prominent weapons for aim assist. And then lastly, I shared with you guys how you should be using the drum gun and using aim assist to your advantage. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful. A like would be very much appreciated. On the contrary, if you genuinely dislike today's video, then feel free to leave a dislike. Also, if you're new around here and would like to see more daily Fortnite content like this in the future, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. With that out of the way, my name is EndingGamertag. Thank you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.